Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I am joined today by two very special people and very good friends of mine, Danielle and Mark. And I wanted them to come on. Do you guys have feedback? Do you have something else going on? Oh, your phone on?
No.
I'm turning. No. Okay, I'm hearing some feedback. Anyways, I wanted you guys to talk about your experience in New York. You were at Ground Zero on September 11th. And first of all, thank you so much for what you guys have been through, what you did, and how you stepped up. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Well, just I'll give you some history for you and, well, you know the history, but the audience doesn't know the history that Danielle and I met and worked together on the New York Stock Exchange. I started working there in the early 80s. I'm an old man, and Danielle started in middle 90s, and we ended up falling in love and getting married, and we ended up buying an apartment. Well, actually, on the 9/11, we were living in a rental, but we already had bought an apartment waiting to close in a different apartment in Tribeca. So for people that don't know the area, the World Trade Centers were basically right in the middle, 4 blocks north of where we worked and 4 blocks south of where we lived. So that neighborhood, that was our neighborhood. That was our whole life. We were there and we lived there and we worked there. So that's just a little history about where we were when it happened.
So that day, Shemaine, we were trying to get pregnant with our first together, and we had an appointment uptown, reverse commuting to the infertility doctor, which was just random, happened to be that day. So instead of every other day that we walked to Wall Street, we walked straight through the World Trade Center Plaza at exactly that time to cross over to get to Wall Street. And that day we didn't, because we had come downtown on the subway and come up onto the exchange floor from the east side of the building. So as we were changing, it's just a funny place, right? You change out of your blazer into like the work jacket with all the numbers and the stuff on it, and you change your shoes. And by the time we did that and came up to the trading floor, people were like, oh my God, did you see that plane? I mean, how silly could the pilot be not to see a tower in front of his face?
Yeah, everybody thought it was like, just a prop plane that just, made a mistake on the first one.
And then within just minutes, it felt like all the screens on the floor were broadcasting now, live pictures. And forget it, like we're watching, and this next plane is like coming right into the tower, and the whole place felt like an earthquake.
So there were still people. I mean, the exchange opens at 9:30, and this was like before 9 o'clock. So people were still commuting into the exchange. So people were running into the exchange saying, "Oh my God, I just saw this," or whatever. So the New York Stock Exchange ceased operation for that day. And then they made everybody leave the floor because they thought that the financial markets were going to be the next target after they targeted the World Trade Centers. So people left. And then all of a sudden there was an announcement that everybody should come back on the floor because the stock exchange is a low standing building, and they figured that the planes couldn't get there because we were protected. But half the people already had left, and half the people were back on the floor.
And at that point, my father-in-law, who, at that time was in his 20 years ago, that would make Norman about
60.
Early 60s. He got, connected with a group of men who decided to boogie on over to the Brooklyn side and go out towards the East River. And so when we got back up onto the trading floor, my mother-in-law is calling like, "Did you see Norman? Where's Norman?" And we didn't know because we hadn't seen him yet this morning. So she was nervous that he had come up in the PATH train and been in the trade center as this is all, occurring.
And then we were looking for coworkers, friends. I mean, it was just a frenzy of chaos, total chaos. So then they kept us onto the floor of the stock exchange, and then the first building fell, and we didn't know if it was, we heard the rumble and we heard it sounded like an earthquake, and we didn't know if who thought it was going to fall straight down? We thought it was going to fall like, a timber, and we were close enough that if it fell, we were gone.
Trouble.
We were gone. So we hear the lights went out, there rumbles going on. It's going bananas. And thank God, it didn't hit us, but we ended up, the lights came on and everybody was like, oh, thank God. Then the second one, and the same thing happened again. And you didn't realize it was going to happen. And you didn't realize it wasn't going to hit us. So there was just complete panic, chaos. Like, I don't even know the adjectives.
It's really surreal. It's still totally surreal. We were allowed, like, they opened the doors again at about 12:30. We grabbed wet rags that had been dipped in water for us, and we just threw them on our faces, and we just jogged all the way around to get to our apartment to check on our apartment, and immediately ripped off the Wall Street, kind of work clothes, and immediately changed and ran downstairs to try to help. And that's really the start of our real story, where immediately the firefighters were coming right in and closing our whole street, and we were there. We weren't leaving. We were just there to, like, pitch in. And what do you need? And the first thing one of them said to us is, we think we're going to need to set up like a triage center at Stuyvesant High School, which was directly across the street from us, crossing the highway.
So they were pulling in army cots and army beds, and we were loading them into the Stuyvesant High School because we were all praying that they were going to find survivors, and we would have people alive that they'd have to put medical care to. But the next day, after Tuesday, we walked to 14th Street, which is probably about 2 miles from where we were, and we volunteered for Salvation Army because we wanted to be inside and we wanted to help even more. So we got Salvation Army badges, and we were in the pit for the next 5 days, supporting the firefighters, the police officers, the EMTs, and it was a surreal experience. I mean, it's something obviously that's ingrained in mine and Danielle's brain, but we decided that they screwed with not only our country, but also our neighborhood. And they messed with our neighborhood. We were going to be there to pay back and give back for whatever we could, just to volunteer. I mean, against our family's better judgment, they were all telling us to get out because you never know what was going to happen next. But we were like, no, we're staying. We're going to volunteer. And Danielle's got a couple of crazy pictures.
Little pictures here. This was like this whole like little area that we set up to support. Can you guys see that, Shemaine? Yeah. And
Danielle snuck in
I snuck in a little camera, but the guys would come off from welding and cutting and moving, and I literally, this is way before this 20-year fast forward crisis. I had like the Clorox wipes, and I was like wiping down the fireman's face just to feed him a half of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to go right back up and get back up on the pile.
One of your comments just was New York at its best, and
yes.
that was when you had faith in humanity again, when you saw everybody, coming together, and didn't matter if you were black, white, Christian, Jewish, anything. It didn't matter if you were Muslim at that point. Everybody was trying to find other people and just find survivors, and nobody cared who you were standing next to or what your political affiliation was at that point.
Shemaine, this is a beautiful little thing I'm going to read to you guys.
Okay.
Somebody delivered, within about 24 to 48, well, maybe 48 hours to headed to the third day, all of these restaurants had food and realized like, they're not serving the food and everything is shutting down. So we started to get catering sent down to us in boxes to feed all these thousands of firemen and policemen. And I started opening sandwiches again. And this was a little note that said, "This lunch is just a small token of our appreciation for all of your heroic efforts to help those affected by Tuesday's events. We are so very, very grateful for your service and wish you, your loved ones, and your colleagues all of the very best. Sincerely, the citizens of New York."
So,
well, God bless you guys. Don't cry, Danielle. You're going to cry.
She's been crying all day. I mean, I don't blame her, but
and that's why I wanted to talk with you, who had hands-on experience of what was going on at the time. I'm hearing my echo. Maybe it's me. But I appreciate, and everybody else appreciates what you guys have been through and what you've done for those first responders who were there on the front lines. You guys were first responders, and I can't imagine you probably have those images and even smells ingrained in you.
I do. It's frightening, but I do. It especially, you know, the month of September leading up to September 11th every year. So, you know, just to fast forward the story, you know, we were there on Sunday, and I said to Danielle, I said, I'm staying. This is my calling. I need to stay. I need to help. But we had a very successful business on the New York Stock Exchange, so I didn't leave. I did leave. We went back to work, but we lived and worked there for another 7 years afterwards. And being there and the stress and everything like that caused a lot of different health issues in my life. 5 years later, in 2006, I had a heart attack. And then Danielle and I left the Florida New York Stock Exchange, and we lived there for another 2 years afterwards and moved to New Jersey. And in 2011, 10 years later, I got diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. It's definitely correlation to the toxins that we were breathing in for the last 7 years, you know, prior to that, being down there, living down there. And people don't realize that. They think that, you know, after the towers fell, you know, the toxicity was gone, but they started rebuilding. So to rebuild, they had to dig up part of the rubble. And once you dig up the rubble, more stuff going into the air. So we were there, you know, for 7 years later. We had two babies down there, and thank God I was the only one so far, and I know God's got us covered, that got sick, because, you know, Danielle was down there with me through everything. Nick was born there, Sarah was born there, and lived there as little babies. So you know, we check out, and that's led us to a life of.
Well, that this is a great little transition. I mean, Shemaine, when we moved to Florida, we were not even here that long, and I shortly, you know, was blessed to meet you over a toxicity story. And I was so drawn to hearing you speak at that women's event about you and Ted and the house in Michigan and your experience with, you know, toxins, and you being such an educator and a champion to advocate for education around toxins in our environment. And that was really our first kind of bonding moment together, you know, of part of our friendship years ago. So, you know, being so like-minded in health and wellness, it has really, you know, we bagged Wall Street and the stress that came with it, and really dove into the deep end of being health and wellness ambassadors and in the business of health and wellness. And it has provided us abundant health and also abundant wealth.
I mean, one of the reasons we were always healthy, we always ate healthy and went to the gym. But when I was diagnosed with cancer and I was going through chemo, I was losing weight in a rapid fashion. I was like down 30 pounds in 8 weeks when I started, you know, on chemo. And I said to Danielle, I said, at one point, if this trajectory keeps going, you're going to have to call the funeral home. So we ended up finding a nutritional product that enhanced my recovery. Obviously, the chemo, I had 3 rounds of chemo. I had 21 radiation treatments. I had a stem cell transplant from my sister. Obviously, all the Western medicine did what it needed to do, but without the nutritional recovery, and also this is a subject for another interview, the whole mindset, you know, thing that I know Shemaine is an advocate for and huge about, is like having the positive mindset and the right mindset of, you know, in life and in a lot of things. But the nutritional products that Danielle and I found aided in my recovery, sped up my recovery, and it's been 10 years, 9.5 years, and I've never missed a day on these products, because why would I? It made me feel better. It makes me healthier. And so it's just been a part of our life.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you guys talk, because for some reason I'm getting an echo, but I wanted to talk to you about that too. What was the process and how long did it take for you to start feeling better? And tell us a little bit about the products that I know and love so well.
Okay. Honestly, this is my story. This is not typical. I'm an anomaly for what really happens with our company. Most people need to get healthier and need to lose weight and stuff like that, but I needed to gain weight. So I for me, and this is my story and it's got to be compliant, the products worked for me almost immediately, to be honest with you. I started, and it was within a week, I felt a difference. I felt more energy. I felt weight coming back onto my body. I felt just stronger. And it was, for me, I always say it was like the Elmer's glue, because we were eating, I was trying to eat everything right, coconut oil and peanut butter to gain weight, and everything I could find, avocados, anything that had high fat and healthy content, but nothing was working until I found the Isogenics products, which for me brought everything together and made it really work.
I was thinking, oh my God, I'm like a walking time bomb for cancer. Like, I wanted their champion product, Cleanse for Life, because I thought, okay, I need to cleanse all of these toxins that my body may be holding on to. And, immediately the Ionic Supreme, the herbs, the adaptogenic herbs to calm down stress, I was like pouring it down his throat. Obviously the protein shakes, the protein bars, doing the organic grass-fed whey from New Zealand. That's no hormones, no antibiotics. And now we do all plant-based, very, very high quality plant-based products. And it's just an incredible system. Now you add in the organic greens and the immune support, which I grabbed just because everybody in America better be putting these immune support into their protein smoothie in the morning. And our super greens here, I mean, it's just like, they're just incredible. And I know, Shemaine, you have both of these items in your favorites link. So when people want to know what's Shemaine and Ted's favorites. But really recently in 2021, we've both been loving the collagen elixir. Mark's been hitting the ball over the fence and loving, well, I mean, it's true.
It's basically been a very, very good recovery system for me. I mean, I do play a lot. We exercise a lot, and I'm 58 years old. So things are not, you don't recover as well as when you're 28 years old. So this is definitely enhancing my recovery.
And of course, if you look at Ted, out there on stage for hours, sweating and performing, and we knew, gosh, he's got to get this in his body right away.
But one of the things that Danielle mentioned earlier, Shemaine, is the Cleanse for Life. And obviously, having all the toxicity from 9/11 and having all the chemotherapy in my body, the second I got the all clear and the cancer's out of my body, which was probably
Thanksgiving time.
Well, that's when I got the stem cell, but like probably April of 2013, I decided that I needed to cleanse everything out, because when they give you chemo, as people might know that are on here, they don't give you the right amount. They flood your body with chemo because they don't know how much, there's no real formula.
It's a big guessing game. Let's just put it that way.
So chemo brain's real. There's, people have, the reason you keep going back to the doctor for 5 years is because there's so much chemo in your body that it can destroy your body. So I needed to cleanse all that crap out as well as the toxicity. So I was drinking this Cleanse for Life every day, just getting all the crap out of my body. And knock on wood, it's worked.
So I want to say thank you to you, Shemaine, because you just ran such a successful 11-day shred with your first group. We had a bunch of wonderful people. I know you shared some of the testimonials on some of your other lives, but we're going to get another group for September together for towards the middle to end of the month. Yeah. So if you're excited to be part of some incredible products to feel much better in your body, raise your immune system, lower your stress, you may want to be in Shemaine's next Wildly Well 11-day shred group.
11-day shred. We've got the wildlywell21@gmail.com ticker going on at the bottom. And if anybody wants to get in on the shred, they can just email us. Or you guys, because you're going to be answering the email.
Well, if anybody's questioning what is an 11-day shred, it's basically an accelerated program to start your health journey and jumpstart your health journey by that's a great question, Kathy. The cleanse is not your traditional poop cleanse. It's a cellular blood cleanse. So it works with the toxicity in your cells. The Cleanse for Life that you drink draws out the toxicity, and you drink a lot of water. You will be going to the bathroom a lot, but it's through, you'll be urinating out your toxins.
And we encourage lots and lots of drinking the water bottle.
So the 11-day shred is a jump start. You're going to be cleansing your body, 2 to 4 days of the 11 to get the jump start, and you'll be putting in the immune system, the greens, the superfoods that regenerate. I always talk about it when I talk about it. It's like, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so it's like the Staten Island dump. If you keep putting garbage on top of the garbage, it's just going to pile up. You need to get the stuff out from the bottom, so you make it a little bit, cleaner from the bottom up.
And Kath, we have videos, we have some information. We'd love to send you a link. So if you send us an email, we're delighted to really give you the proper things you'll need to do some homework. And of course, it's a money back guarantee. So, there's no risk ever.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't want to say thank you for being there and going through what you went, because I can only imagine how horrible that was. But thank you for stepping up and also going through that transition and finding the superfood nutrition, because it saved my life as well.
So I appreciate that, Shemaine, but I always, and this is true from my heart. You know me, I'm transparent. I tell you the way it is. I don't really care if you like me or not, because this is who I am. I've been through too much to really care about what people think. No matter what I went through, I would do it again for what the gentleman said. It was the best of people. It also turned my Wall Street brain of me around to give back and just be part of the community and just see there's a greater good than accumulating Armani suits and a car, and that it's just there's a better, greater good for people, and I wish more people would see that right now.
Julita, I just want to, that's a beautiful, honey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is beautiful, Mark. Thank you.
Julita, there is a website,
it's on the bottom.
Absolutely. And we're going to extend Shemaine's 25% discount if you allow us to work with you, and if you email us at
You didn't even know that, but we're extending your discount.
so that we can get, I think it's Julita. That's a very beautiful name. We can get you set up with what fits your goals and your budget. Most folks need the metabolic reset and the jump start and to lean out the body. Very few folks need to build 30 pounds of lean muscle. Very few. So we're happy to help service you, and we back up Shemaine with all of the nutrition and coaching.
Well, thank you guys so much I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed, because you guys have changed my life, and I know together we have changed a lot of lives of other people.
Virtual high five.
Yay. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being brave and bold and stepping up and going through what you did.
And we want to say, God bless you and Ted for doing what you do for the veterans and for the country and for standing up for freedom, because there's not many of us left. Well, there probably is, but they're hiding. But you're not hiding. You're out there.
No, we're not.
And talking about it, and we're with you. And
we are with you.
And we thank you for what you guys do.
Well, we're all in this together. And you're right. It was the best of humanity on September 12th. So thank you, guys.
We appreciate it. Bye, sweetheart.
All right. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.